In Hong Kong, they called him Superman. And honestly, for good reason. His work ethic and his success were, well, pretty superhuman. Today, we're going to break down the lessons from the legendary Ka-shing. I mean, just think about that for a second. How does a 13-year-old kid working in a factory end up building a $35 billion empire? It sounds like something out of a movie, right? But this is a totally real story. And his journey? Wow. It's basically a masterclass in strategy, mindset, and building a legacy. You know, you really can't tell his story without also telling the story of modern Hong Kong. They are just that intertwined. His rise from being an apprentice in a trading outpost to becoming a global financial titan, that almost perfectly mirrors Hong Kong's own transformation. He wasn't just along for the ride, he was one of the people in the driver's seat. So, where did it all begin? Well, to understand the empire, you first have to understand the man. And believe me, the foundation for all this wasn't built with money. It was built with character that was forged in some incredibly tough times. Just look at this timeline. The speed is just astonishing. He flees a war-torn country, his father passes away, and he's forced to start working in a factory, all by the time he's 13. Just 6 years later, at 19, he's the general manager. And then at 21, he starts his own company, Cheung Kong Plastics, which would become the seed for everything that came after. Wow, this quote, it really just says it all, doesn't it? I felt like a 20-year-old. The world just forced him to grow up, basically overnight. He didn't really get to have a childhood. What he got instead was a brutal, real-world crash course in survival and resilience, and that would define the rest of his life. Okay, so that was the foundation. Now let's talk about the framework he built on top of it, his mindset. Because his success was never just about working hard. It was about thinking in a very, very specific way. This is what I find so fascinating about him, this total contrast, you know? On the outside, he was the picture of humility, super frugal, famous for wearing a cheap watch, even picking up coins he found on the street. But on the inside, he said it himself, he was inwardly very arrogant. He had this absolute unshakable belief in himself. And that mix of outer humility and inner fire, man, that is a powerful combination. And this right here, this is his whole philosophy in a nutshell. Forget feng shui, forget luck. He's basically saying, look, at the end of the day, you are in control of your own fate. The single most important thing you can possibly do is work on improving yourself. That's it. That's the secret. So if you boil it all down, these were kind of like his personal commandments. 1, never stop learning because the world is always going to change. 2, hard work can make up for almost any weakness. 3, your reputation is absolutely everything. It's priceless. And 4, you've got to have a vision, something that pulls you towards the future. All right, so we have the man, we have the mindset. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty, the structure. How did he actually build this incredible business machine? This quote is the key to his entire business strategy. Think of it like walking a tightrope. You're always moving forward, always advancing, but you are also laser-focused on staying stable. It's this constant push and pull. Advance, but stay stable. Stay stable, but keep advancing. That discipline is probably why he's so rarely made a catastrophic mistake. And you have to remember the environment he was in. Talk about being in the right place at the right time. Just look at these numbers. Hong Kong's economy was an absolute rocket ship. In the 60s, you had a couple thousand new companies a year. By the 2000s, over 100,000. He wasn't just riding a wave. He was expertly navigating a hurricane of economic growth. And this right here, this just shows you the insane scale we're talking about. I mean, let that sink in for a second. The man started his career making little plastic flowers. He ended up controlling the biggest container ports on the entire planet. The journey from A to B is just, it's staggering. So how do you do it? Well, it came down to a few key systems. First, always have cash ready. He kept a huge war chest so he could pounce on opportunities. Second, know when to sell. He was a master at this, like when he sold the telecom company Orange and walked away with the $21 billion profit. And third, always invest in the future. He was an early backer of companies you might have heard of, like, say, Facebook and Zoom. Okay, this is where it gets really practical for all of us. Let's switch gears from his story to his advice. the actionable lessons he has for young people who are trying to build their own future. He actually laid out this super clear blueprint he called the 5-fund strategy. It's basically how you should divide up your income for growth. So only 30% goes to just living. The rest is for building yourself up. 20% is for networking, which we'll talk about. 15% for learning, buying books, taking classes. 10% for travel to broaden your mind. And the biggest chunk, a full 25%, is for investing. Simple, but so powerful. And that 20% for networking? This quote explains it perfectly. He's saying, go buy lunch for people who know more than you do. It's not about just schmoothing. It's about strategically investing in relationships. He saw that as one of the smartest things you could possibly do with your money. Now, check this out, because this is totally the opposite of what most people would tell you. He said, when you're poor, spend your money on other people. Get out of the house, be seen, build your network. But when you get rich, then you can stay home more, spend money on yourself, and be a little more private. It's a complete flip of the usual advice. So when you put it all together, the 5 funds, buying lunch for people, all of it really just boils down to one central idea. The single greatest investment you can ever make is in yourself, period. Everything else flows from that. But for Ka-shing, building a massive empire, that wasn't the end game. Not even close. Now let's talk about the final piece, the spire on top of the whole thing, his legacy. So he has 2 sons, Victor and Richard, but he always said that he actually had a 3rd son, the Ka-shing Foundation. By calling it his 3rd son, he was making a huge statement. He was saying, this foundation is just as important to me as my own family. And he backed that up by pledging a full 1/3 of his massive fortune to it. And his giving is incredibly strategic. The foundation has 3 core missions. First, to nurture a whole new culture of philanthropy in Asia. Second, to drive real, meaningful reform in education. And third, to advance medical research to help create a healthier world. To date, we're talking about an investment of over 30 billion Hong Kong dollars in these projects. I love this quote because it's the perfect summary of his entire philosophy. Nothing is left to chance. His life is proof of this idea that you can be the architect of your own future, your own career, and yeah, even your own happiness if you plan for it deliberately. So from the factory floor to a global legacy, Ka-shing's story shows what's possible when you combine that incredible drive with a clear strategy. And it leaves all of us with one final powerful question. He believed you should start planning now. So what's your first step?